YouTube, I'm back with another video today. As you know, got a couple days off with the holiday, and so yes, there is work to be done. Backstory: for about 9 years I owned a Honda Foreman Rubicon, which was an awesome machine, Foreman 500. It was automatic fully, but it had had paddle shift also, but you could switch between the two. Started giving me some problems. Infamous neutral started flashing on the dash. Checked angle sensors, shift solenoids, wound up being an ECU. Had to do a total rebuild on the tranny, which in that vehicle, everything had to come off because the motor and the transmission were all one unit. And I began to have misfires, little carb issues. So as a treat to myself, anytime you've owned a machine 9 or 10 years, it was time for me to start looking after the holiday to see if I could find something. And I found this. This is mint condition, 2003, one owner, Honda Rancher ES 350. Now, obviously, it's a lot smaller than my 500 Foreman, and I don't like that. This is actually a Quad Boss rear seat storage that I took off of my Foreman 500. I also took the winch off of my Honda Foreman 500, but unfortunately the mount was different, so I actually had to order another mount, another video to come, because I had a plow, but unfortunately the plow bracket was missing and we can't find that, so I actually have to order that. But that being said, I need to lift this, so I ordered a 2-inch lift kit. It's one of those cheapies, and I'm going to add it to this today in this video. As you see with the tires here, these are Kendas. These are 14-inch STI alloys. These were also on my Foreman 500. I've seen a lot of videos with the 30-inch. These are 26 by 12 by 14, and you can see right there just how much is missing. So I'm actually fine with this, because with the Foreman 500 I actually had to cut into it, and I don't want to cut into it. The fronts, you have 26 by 10 by 14, and those are also Kendas. So today, again, this video is just going to be a 2-inch lift kit. The one rear shock gets a shackle bolt in the rear. I believe the top ear is going to be receive another bolt. So just pulled her out. I'm going to actually pull her in and begin the work. Now, for some of you, I have a Max Jacks lift. I have a birthday coming up the end of this month, and I hinted to the wife that they sell an adapter that you can add to the Max Jacks that actually can be used to lift your ATVs and your motorcycles. So today I don't have that, so I'll be on the ground with a regular standard aluminum racing jack. But to come, in the future, I'm hoping to own the adapter. So as you can see, it's pretty clean. Again, I said I got this from the original owner, and the mileage was really low, pristine, well taken care of. We'll see here. Thing only has 792 miles, 124 hours. So she is mint. So let's get to work. I just kind of wanted to show you the rear. The kit did not come with directions. So you kind of got to figure some things out yourself. Now that's a diff bolt, which makes it sense. So I've seen some people on YouTube put this at the top. This is not meant to go at the top. This is meant to go at the bottom. You can see how it's been cut. That's your diff bolt. So you take your diff bolt out. I keep everything loose until everything's together. Now here at the bottom of the regular shock bolt, that thread is in the frame. So the reason why this is bolted to the diff bolt is because the other side of the stock bolt, the riser is not connected. It's only connected here to the diff and connected to the top. Now again, the spacer could not fit between the shock at all. So the thought was the spacer actually goes on the other side of the riser, because if you look here where the diff, there's very minimal room. That bolt actually extended all the way to the diff. So the spacer actually goes on the outside, allowing the necessary space for you to tighten up the lock nut without hitting the diff. So that's the rear in a nutshell. So I hope that this video was good at teaching you what you need to do in order to do this. The lock nuts are actually 17 mil. The bolt head itself is actually only 16 mil. And the stock shock bolt is a 14 mil. And the diff bolt is a 14 mil. So, again, I needed just a little bit more clearance because the thought was the front I had plenty of turn radius and I'll probably go 1.5 inches on wheel spacers. But the rear, I just wanted a little more. And you can see that is barely touching. These are 26 by 14s. So, you know, I've seen people go 28. I've seen people go 30. But, you know, if I had my Honda Foreman 500, maybe a 30 or 28. On a 350, my friend, I would not suggest going beyond a 26. You can go 28. But I can tell you, as somebody who's owned a lot of these ATVs, if you can't repair them yourself, they're very expensive. So, thank you. Forgive me for the background noise because there's a lot of football being played. I'm sure you're watching anyway. Till next time. So very simple, okay? If you see here, basically you have a 12 millimeter bolt that goes here to your frame that's actually going to come out, okay? And you have a 14 millimeter bolt that actually sits in your shock. So once you take that out the shock, the fronts are relatively simple, okay? You basically just pull out the shock, you know, let it sit. And again, you see, I'm not using, I always use wood anytime I lift anything, including the car. But with this particular thing, you can see that's actually not connected. I actually sit this on jack stands. The reason being is you need that flexibility in your suspension. Now, I guess you could lift the middle of the cradle of the frame, but it just made more sense right here to use jack stands, just so I could have the maneuverability after I take all these wheels off. Now, as you see, this is actually designed pretty nice. Now, I don't really like the fit, but it's designed pretty good. So what you're going to do here is essentially the shock is going to mount to the front part here. The existing mount. So you've got your bolt here for your frame at the top. You got the top bolt that actually is going to be mounted to the existing mounting bolt for your shock. And then your shock itself is actually going to mount to the bottom. I already did the other side. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. My only thing is, I'm going to tell you these bolts are 17 millimeter. and there's not a lot of room. So you're probably gonna have to use shallow sockets, and you're gonna have to, my recommendation is to press this in a little bit. Look at the amount of space between this mount and the existing mount, okay? So what I found is even on the rear, when I try to put the washer on, it's not working. So you might just want to push that in just a little bit so you can get those washers on, so you can get those locking bolts on. But overall, very simple installation. I'll go around to the other side and show you exactly what it looks like, okay? And there you go. So you see the shock mounts at the bottom. You got top bolts here, your two locking with your two washers, and your mount on your frame. So I'll give it a little bit more light so you can see it. So there you go. The rear, I actually saw someone install the rear on the bottom. The rear is actually supposed to install on the top. So that's the Rancher right now. It does say it's going to give me 2 inches in lift. If I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't see that. I should have measured. I did not. It doesn't matter to me. It gives me a little bit. It looks more like 1 inch, if anything. So until next time, stay tuned. I'll show you a clip of the rear, and we'll see how this thing rides.